Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
Well, I'll tell you, it's almost worth the trip actually it is worth the trip over the bridge to go to a new place that I've never seen, but Bark Barbecue right here in the shadows of PRS and Paul Reed Smith and his guitar conglomerate, I suppose. But we're here today with Eric Griffioen, who is with Ride C-3 or the Chesapeake Cycling Club. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks, John, for having me. I look forward to discussing our club and our events and other things. Thank you.
Well, I think this is the first time we've actually talked to a club as opposed to businesses or organizations. I guess you're an organization, if you will. And, you know, as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit more into cycling than I did. I took a big old break when, from when I was a kid, through that young adult and kid raising period of my life. And now I really enjoy it. And, the roads on the dark side of the bridge are very horrible. And I feel a lot more comfortable actually out here on the Eastern Shore when I ride on the roads. I know I've done the Tour de Talbot a couple years, and I ride the trails out here a good amount. But Chesapeake Cycling Club, I saw you guys, the first time I think I saw you guys was at the Tour de Talbot, and wanted to find out, a little bit more about you guys. So what's the history of it?
So the club actually started, in a way, 15 years ago, and was called Cross Court Bike Club. It was started by Sandy Whitehurst, and from there the Cross Court closed up, and from there a new president, who's Kevin Full, who's one of our members, changed the name to Chesapeake Cycling Club. So we're a club that's based out of Easton, been Chesapeake Cycling Club, for the last 4 years. We're a regional club in the sense that, we want to be more than just Easton. So we have members from 10 counties of Maryland, people in Delaware. So a lot of people from Annapolis, Prince George's County, Baltimore County are coming to our club because we do have great roads to ride. And we have one great place that's not too far from Annapolis. We ride every Wednesday called Tenike. It's a brewery, great beer. It's right in Queenstown, right next to Chesapeake College, which is a great place to come from Annapolis, get some beer, do a 22-mile ride. We run in the clubs to ride year round, so we don't just let the wintertime stop us. So we ride Saturday and Sunday year round, and we ride during peak season 5 days a week. So we ride more than most clubs. We also do something called Zwift group rides, which is where you can ride from your house on a trainer, but see your virtual selves riding. So that's a pretty neat little thing that we do as a club. And if you haven't noticed, like I said about Tenike, so we do a lot of not just a ride, it's a social piece. So like we ride out of a place called Eat Sprout, which there's one now in Annapolis, where they give us free coffee after our ride. We also ride from Cambridge, so we're more regional, where we ride snappers and have beer afterwards. So it's not just the ride, it's also the experience and the event that we do with it. And then we are hosting some events, which we'll talk about in a minute, but we're really want to be a bike club for most. So you need to be really part of our club, you need to be able to do at least 20 miles, because all our distances are 20 miles plus. So I think our shortest one's like 20 miles. You can cut it 18 if you have to, but roughly around 20 miles. We are a road bike club, so we don't do any kind of mountain biking, or we might do some trails, but we definitely focus around the roads. We can do a distance as far as 80, 100 miles on some routes. Obviously, that's not for everybody. And we have different pace groups. So, we do have, some cutoffs. Our slowest speed is probably around 13-mile average, which is very doable. You got to remember, for one, if you're riding as a group, you're going to pick up 2 or 3 miles. If you've ever done a pace line, you're going faster than you would if you're riding your own. So that 13 is probably more like a lot of people's 10 mile an hour. And our fastest group does about 22 miles average.
Okay.
So, we're a group that really has a wide range of cycling for road for most.
Interesting. Well, it's funny. I know you talk about 20 miles, and some people may be rolling their eyes going, oh my God, are you kidding me? And I remember the first time I did an organized ride was the Lifeline 100 in Anne Arundel County, and they said, a friend of mine, Alex Pline, said, oh, you'll be fine on the 30. I'm like, oh my God, 30 miles, are you freaking kidding me? And I said, well, how many days does this race go? To get me going 30 miles. And he said, oh, no, you'll be done by noon. You start at 9, you'll be done by noon. I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Okay. You have no idea how out of shape I am and sure enough, I was done by 11. And so don't let 20 miles really, it sounds a lot bigger than it really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about obviously getting out there, conditioning. I mean, I know what got me into biking, really into biking, I biked as a kid, but I would bike like once in a while 20 miles, and that was my cutoff. I was like, oh my gosh, you can't do more than 20 miles. So I get the 20 miles like you're talking about, but I was like, no way I'm doing more. But then my wife, who's from Sweden, there's a ride called the Veterunden, which is a 200-mile bike ride in one day. So I'm like, holy, whatever. I got to really train. So then I bought a bike, got into these clubs, got into cycling, and just became a huge lover of cycling. So it gave me that purpose of, training and riding. And, 200 miles, obviously not everybody can do that. But, it's all about having that goal set, having fun with it, setting course of who you're going to ride with. And, 20 miles is definitely doable if you get out there and you practice. And there's, like I said, there's an indoor trainer, so you can start at home. You can just ride around your neighborhood. I mean, there's so many ways to get those miles up. And the more you ride, the more comfortable you get and the easier it gets.
I agree. I mean, as I've done some of these organized rides, I mean, I go with we'll say the smallest distance. And the following year, I'll let me go around BWI. That's only another 10. And we'll figure that out. And so, oh, man, that was 40. And it's like, well, let's do the 65 and everything else. How many members do you guys have? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, so I
mean, I imagine they come and go, but I mean, you don't have the full club membership out for every ride, I don't think.
No, I mean, I think we do really well. I mean, I'm also part of a group called the Mid-Atlantic President's Board. So we have every month we have a meeting where we talk to clubs like Annapolis Bike Club and Philadelphia Bike Club, just to help each other out, because we are a biking community. It's not just about C-3 Chesapeake Cycling Club. It's about the biking community. So we work with all these clubs. And, we've really grown, even though we're in a smaller area, we've gone from 45 members 2 years ago to we're about 95 members now. And I really think this year we're going to reach well over 100. We just started our membership in January. We've already signed up 7 new members in 3 weeks. So I really think that, we'll probably hit somewhere over 100 this year. And, and don't be alarmed if you're not a member. I mean, we want people to come out and ride with us first, enjoy it, see what we're about. We're not going to sit there and say, where's your check for our membership? Our membership is $40 per member for the year. So I think it's a very reasonable rate, and that's less than you pay for most events, and you get a lot for it. You get discounts on our jerseys, you get to ride. We rode as a club, if you wanted to ride every day with us, we rode over 5,000 miles we had for you. We provide you with Ride GPS, where you can download your routes. You can also download turn by turn on your phone, so you know where you're going.
It's always a good thing.
It's a really good thing. We have a great website for all our information. And we have a lot of fun things, like we use WhatsApp for chatter, so you can talk to other people about coming out to ride with us. So we ride in different counties. We do our own events. So there's a lot that we have to offer as a club. So we want people to come out and first see what we're all about, because we want you to have a great experience. I mean, our goal is not to have you just come out once. I mean, we get typically on a ride, I would say, during the peak season, which is April through October. We get anywhere from 10 on a low to 40 on a high, which is pretty good numbers, turns out. I mean, if you talk to most bike clubs, that are over 1,000 members, they get 20 members. So we get more than they get for a ride, and at a much smaller rate. And I think it's because of the way we do things, and our members have a great time.
You've got to think that the land and the geography works to your advantage there, as opposed to, hey, I'm on I-287 in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think it helps me. I think that's why, so we have people coming from 10 different counties in Maryland. I think that's because of the fact that we do have better places to ride. So we have members that are coming from Annapolis and Frederick County and Baltimore and Prince George's County, because we do have roads that are just pristine and, great water views, and just great place to stop for rest stops, and just offer a lot for our cyclists per ride.
Hey, odd question. You've got a gaggle of geese and a herd of moose and stuff like that. Is there a term for when you come around that corner and all of a sudden there's 40 bikes on the shoulder riding around?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a term like geese here, or we did have one unfortunate spot last year where there was some guinea pigs that came across, and we had a little maneuvering with that. But it's just calling out the object there. So you want to say, whether it's bump or object, and you want to point to it. And so you want to do that very early. And the big thing to it is not just pointing to it, but it's a very lead cyclist. So we make sure that our group knows that first person riding, they're really the ones that, just like you're in a car, they see everything. So they're the ones that have a bigger responsibility to make sure that they really point out, any kind of rocks, divots, cars, so like if a car's coming, we have incoming car, and we have, you have different hand signals for turning and right turn, left turn. Even though we have your GPS, we don't want you looking at a map when you're doing it. So, and then the other people then follow. So the second person will say, they'll point down, and, and it works out pretty well on the pace line, because you don't have to run a pace line, but we do run a pace line, which is just a little tighter group where you're behind each other. And what that does is it's a lot of fun of like riding just riding in that group atmosphere. I can't explain that you've done it, but and you go a little faster. Every time someone does the first one, like, wow, I didn't think I'd do 13 miles. I didn't think I'd do 50 miles at our average pace, because every person gets a little bump from that person behind them. They get that pull from the bike, and it's just so much fun to do it.
Right. Well, what types of bikes? I mean, can any bike ride? I mean, I'm obviously not bringing in my tricycle or my. I know I was on the website, and the website, I should point out, is Ride C3, and that's the number 3. So it's RIDE, the letter C, and then 3.org. But it said that, road bikes, I believe.
So we don't, if you showed up in a mountain bike, or like we have someone that rides a recumbent bike, which is when you're in your back, we have to be able to do some hybrid bikes. You can bring out any bike you want, but just keep in mind that if you're on a slower, heavier bike, it may not be able to keep the pace that group's riding in. So it's not that we have anybody that can't ride any bike they want to ride, but just letting them know that if it's a fast day that day, that, like I used to have a big, heavy mountain bike. I can't do 18 miles on a big, heavy mountain bike. I can do 18-mile pace on my road bike. So we have people that do mountain bikes. We have people that do hybrid bikes, recumbent bikes. So you could bring any bike out you want, but I probably recommend that you have a road bike. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I mean, my first road bike I bought, I went down to the bike shop, said, look, I'm just starting out. And they were really good about saying, hey, don't overdo it, because your biggest weight you're going to lose is your own weight on yourself. Don't worry about buying the carbon, fancy shoes, and all these things. You need to lose more weight yourself to be lighter. So I bought a $400 bike, all aluminum bike, nothing special. I mean, I know $400 can be out of some people's price range, but for a bike that's pretty reasonable, and it was everything I needed. Since then, I have upgraded because I ride so much. I want to be able to do more with it. But you don't have to have a fancy bike to ride with us.
Okay. Because my bike is a giant. It's got the straight handlebars.
Yep.
It's I guess it's a hybrid is the proper term, and I love it at this point. So it's interesting. Spandex required?
No, I mean, we do offer our own spandex version. So we used to just do a jersey, but now we have a full kit. So now you can get the whole spandex jackets and pants and the whole 9 yards. And it looks good. I mean, we definitely are pressed when we go out there. We have a 40-man group, and we're out there all together and we're wearing it, but there's no requirement. We have people that definitely wear just regular jeans, or, I don't know if I'd wear something as tight as not jeans, I'm sorry, regular shorts. I don't know if I wear jeans, because jeans could be a little tough to
chafing,
to ride in. But there's no requirement of what people wear. They can wear whatever they feel comfortable in. It's definitely, we want them to have a enjoyable experience.
Absolutely. Well, how long have you been riding, Eric?
So like I said, I started really riding since 2015. I mean, I've obviously, like anyone, rode as a kid and rode some a little bit here and there. But when I trained for that one ride in Sweden, I had to really pick up my riding ability and my riding distances. So that's when I got a better bike and really started to make this something that I wanted to do. And from there, I just fell in love with it. I mean, it is a sport that, a lot of sports, if you have like feet conditions or knee conditions, you could do more biking than you can with those conditions. I used to be a runner, and running, you can get like plantar fasciitis and different things. So this is something that almost anyone could do. I mean, our average age is probably somewhere in the, I don't know, I would probably say close to 60.
Okay.
That's right. I mean, so, you don't have to be young. We do have some members that I think our youngest member is like 32. But, age is not a factor when it comes to cycling, which is kind of neat, because, some of our best riders are like pushing 80, and they just go out there like a beast. So, it's not an age thing. It's not a gender thing. Obviously, some of our females, some of our strongest riders, it's something that everyone can do. and have a great time at.
That's awesome. You said 200 miles in Sweden was a tough one that you trained for. Is that the longest ride you've done?
That's the longest ride I've done in a day. I mean, I've done obviously, where like I've done like rides where they're 4 or 5 days in a row and you do like 350 miles. But in a day, that's the longest ride I've done. I don't know if I'll ever do anything longer, but I will say this, I know it scares people off, but the ride over there, because you have no humidity, because humidity will kill you over here. I mean, you definitely have to make sure you hydrate here more than in Sweden. Sweden, there's no humidity. You ride it, start at nighttime because it doesn't get dark in the summertime. So you're riding at these perfect conditions, like 50, 60 degrees, 70 degrees. So you're riding at temperatures that are just perfect for biking. And they had a really well run course. So if you
What's the terrain like?
It's around a lake, so it's mostly flat. And even the places that aren't where Sweden, they don't have a lot of mountains, so you're not doing a lot of high elevation. You're just doing a lot of miles in a very bike-friendly area. It's also we have in the shore course. I mean, there's on the shore you can do a ride and probably only ride 50 feet climbing. Where that's for most places nothing. So you don't have to. I do recommend changing gears. But you don't have to change gears. You can ride. We have a lot of people that do what's called a single speed, where they ride their bike that has only one speed. So they're pedaling always just in that one gear all the time, and they go as fast as anybody because you're not doing any kind of hills, you're not doing any kind of mountains. So we have several guys that do, I don't want to call it old school, but more the bikes that had that are older bikes, and it's just called a single speed gear. And I don't have one myself, but it's pretty neat, and they get out there and they just go.
That's cool. Have you ever considered doing RAM, the Race Across America?
I really want to do that. I mean, I've seen several of the movies. I wouldn't want to do it as a race, so there is the race where, it's like you have to do it like in 20 days. I do it more of a challenge than a race. But it's a matter of getting the time off because it is definitely a huge commitment. But I do think it's an amazing thing to do. I mean, I just see all the whole country to say you did it, would definitely be a highlight of my cycling career.
Again, it's a personal goal or a personal triumph that you've done, and that's the thing that's really gotten me the times that I've done it. It's like, dang, I did that 65. Yeah. Now I'm going to go die.
So it's funny you say that. So like we did our first real big event last year. It was called the C-3 Tri-County Classic, and that was done in May. This year we're doing it in April, and we did a 37-mile and a 65-mile, and it was so great to see how many people that would come through and be like, "This is my first time I've done 37 miles. My first time I have 65 miles." There's these the terms people look for. They want to do their first century matrix, which is 62 miles, or the first 100 miles. Where I've already done this, so I'm not worried about it. But if we do a route, and for some reason it's 59 miles, you get these people that are so bent on doing this 3 miles. They'll do an extra 3 loops just to get an extra 3 miles in.
Just to get that in.
Where with me, I guess the first time I did one, it's something you can really be proud of, and you should always be proud of any miles you do because it's an accomplishment. But now that I've done those different goal numbers, I just enjoy riding, and I don't worry about it if the course is 50, 40, 60. I want to pick a route that I like, pick a course that I like. And I think for us, it's called the Tri-County Classic because we go through Queen Anne, Caroline, and Talbot. We offer the Oxford Ferry ride for most of those routes for free. And we do a lot of things I think that a lot of rides don't do. I mean, we really try to look at the cyclists first, so in the event. So we offer things like we have a band called New Legacy Blues at our event. We had ice cream pit stop. We had great beer from R&R there. We had fresh tacos. You could order whatever you want at our end party. So we want to make sure that, yes, we're raising money for charities. We've raised money for YMCAs and for Winter Warriors and for a lot of different organizations. But we want to make sure that the cycling and the experience and the ride is at the utmost forefront of the event.
It's good for everybody, sure.
Yeah, I just think that, a lot of times they look at more of the calls, and we definitely have given thousands to causes, but I want to make sure that you first have a great cycling experience, and then from there, we'll give the cause, plenty of money and plenty of things to do. And a couple of things we've done that are pretty neat. We've done something for kids. We've done the Talbot Mentors program with them where we provided money for them to get bikes, and then we've mentored those kids how to ride bikes and teach them bike safety. So this is a program where the kids come there to have a mentor, whether they're taking them bowling, taking them for a walk. So we take them out for bike rides, which is really kind of, I think, unique and very cool. And then we've also done as a group every November during waterfowl. So if you love waterfowl, you can bike and do waterfowl. We do a thing called Thanksgiving. It's a national program where you come and you do a food drive on 2 wheels, and we provide money. We provide food for the St. Vincent Food Bank. So we go around all the local grocery stores. So you're not wearing your cleated shoes. This is a day you're not wearing spandex. This is a day you're bundled up and you're riding your bike you ride around as a kid, and you're just riding around town and racing, having fun with your friends, but more of a couple mile distance. So anybody could do this, and it's something you just have a blast providing food. And then afterwards, we got to go down to the water fountain, have great food ourselves, and have some drinks. So it's just a good experience. And then one other thing I want to mention to you guys is that we just signed an agreement today for a new ride that's really unique that I'm very proud of. It's going to be called the C-3 Film Fondo. So what that is, that's going to be a bike festival, movie festival together. It's with the Rehoboth Film Festival Society. So we're going to do a ride in October. It's going to be October 20th, 21st, 22nd. So the 3 days will be for films. So you have 5 bike films that we'll get a pick from. So you can be, whether it's a classic or a new film. And then you'll ride Saturday and Sunday at the Rehoboth Beach in October when they're less busy, less cars. Ride the beach area for 2 days. And we're going to give a great SAG item. We're going to give a really nice jersey as part of the package. And we're looking at other things right now too as part of the package, but we're in the very beginning stages. It hasn't been posted yet for signups, but it will be. And when it'll be on our website at ridec3.org. Right now we do have the Tri-County Classic up there. We have about 100 people signed up so far. We're probably looking at a max of maybe 500, which I think we're going to probably meet and maybe have to cut it off because we are, in 2.5 weeks, we already had 100 members, 100 people signed up, which is pretty good. Last year we cut it at 200, and it took us 4 months to get to that number. So I think the word's getting out that we're putting on great events, and we're offering a lot. We had these events do a little survey. We had a rating of 89% on our ride of how well they liked it. So I think the word's getting out that we put on a great event or a great club and want you to come out and see us.
Well, that's awesome. Well, you talked events. Okay, so you've got the Rehoboth thing down at the beach in October, which sounds actually very interesting. The 20th, 22nd.
The idea of having a film festival and a bike thing together, no one does it anywhere except for New York. It's really neat.
That'd be cool. And then the C3 Tri-County Classic.
Yep.
And that is, you said, in April
29th. So it's a Saturday. It'll be done at the community center. So, we picked an area that, there's 500 park spots.
That's the community center in Easton, right?
Yeah. So park spots are galore. It's really easy to get to. You don't have to go through town to find parking. Just pull in, bam, park right there. It's conducive for a lot of things we're going to do as far as food trucks, beer trucks. It just has a lot of room. So it's a great area to have an event at. Any
other events that you do or large rides? I'm sure that your group participates in other organized rides that are around.
We definitely do. One thing I really took a lot of time to study the websites and clubs, what they do, and I don't want to be the club that puts encourage our members. They can do any ride they want, any event, but if you try to do every event, you're never going to succeed doing that. So we as a club really push 4 events right now. We're pushing our Tri-County, our Film Fondo, Tour de Talbot, which is a great ride, which I know John's done, and then a ride in September called the Ride for Clean Rivers, which is supporting the bays and all that. We do that in September. We do a lot of other things that are, I guess, non-big event. We work with a group called Ride Allegheny. So they support the Operation Second Chance. They do a ride that goes from Pittsburgh to DC. They do on the trails. And we do a ride with them usually every July where we do the Tillman Island, the ferry, and we provide some rest stops for that. But it's more of a small level. And then we are going to do something this year that's a little new, different. We're going to have kind of a destination rides where we'll ride from Easton to Chestertown and go to Evergreen, great bakery, eat there, have a quick snack, and then ride back. And we're going to do that at a couple places. There's another great place if you ever come to Denton, Maryland, called Earth Tones. It's a vegan place. We're going to go out there and ride to Denton, which was probably about a 40-mile loop. We'll go out there and have a little vegan toast and a little snack, have a little break at the club, and they keep going. So we are going to do, even though we're not doing more events because events take a lot of time, a lot of work. That this year we're looking at 2 big events as a club as far as us organizing. We do a lot of fun rides that are not just going out on your bike and riding. Every one of our rides has something pretty much at the end of it, whether it's food, beer, free coffee, because we want you to have a great bike ride, but also enjoy yourself after the ride. So even our regular rides have something where I think sometimes our members come for the beer more than they come for the ride.
Sure.
Because Ten Neck has some great beer if you had their beer. and it's a great place to just hang out and talk and just just have a good time, enjoy people's company. So
that's very cool. Well, I'll tell you, if anybody wants any information, ridec3.org is the website. And at $40 a year, it seems like a bargain to be able to, honestly, I'll be joining. And I mean, if I make, obviously it's not quite the most convenient thing for me to get out for a, midweek ride down in Easton or something on the Eastern Shore. But if I do 3 or 4 of them a year, or 5 or 6 of them a year, I think, it's well worth it. And these events that you're putting on, look really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, even if even something else we started this year is we're going to meet at a place called Out of Fire for a restaurant. We're even, because of the wintertime, a lot of people, I know, John, do you ride during the wintertime at all? Are you more of a...
Not as much.
So, we realize that. So what we've done is we really want to keep our members engaged. We were even starting this year where we're doing just some social events at like Ten Eyck and Out of the Fire, where we're getting with the places that are sponsors of ours, and we're meeting out there and we're having like food or beer, maybe we get a room. So even if you don't want to join in and ride, just join in, have some good times. And like John said, at $40 a year, it is a bargain. And I think we offer plenty, for that. So hopefully you come out and again, don't be alarmed about the money. Even if you want to come out and try us first, come out and ride first, do a couple rides. We're not there going to sit there and say, where's your $40?
$40?
We want you to have a great time. We want you to enjoy our club, be happy with our club, and see what we're all about.
Well, I think with the area that you're riding in and the products that you offer, for lack of a better word, or something like that, I think it kind of sells itself as by the time you get out there. I think it's sort of like the money back guarantee that you can offer because you're never going to give it back. Eastern Shore is just a wonderful place to ride. For somebody that lives on the dark side, I will say that I feel very uncomfortable riding on any of the roads in Anne Arundel County, just because of the speed of the roads, the narrowness of the roads, or maybe it's the expanse of the roads, the lack of shoulders, the arrogance of the drivers, all which seems to go away when you come across that bridge. It's strangely enough, you've got wide shoulders, you've got wide roads, you've got slower traffic, and I think they're more polite.
It's also, the one thing that you get also by running the group is that even though our roads are much safer, you're more visible. So, when you're riding in a group of like 4 or 5, even maybe as many as 15, the cars are going to see you more. So, numbers is definitely something for safety. That's why, like, even when you do the events, whether you did a Lifeline or Tour de Talbot or our rides, I did Lifeline myself a couple years ago, and I'm not crazy about the roads either, but you're more safer because you are in a bigger group. There are more people going to see you. So, by joining a club like ourselves, you have safety with that. Plus, I don't know how many times we've given bike lessons on how to change tires, on how to fix your seat. So you also have a full range of mechanics there for you. So, I don't know if you ever broke it down with a flat tire and had to change it yourself, but it's nice having that support. So even if we don't provide SAG for our club ride, there's members that are always there pitching in, changing your tires,
pulling over to help you out.
So when we have all our rides, we have bike support, but you have bike support just by doing a club ride because we're always stopping, make sure that you're okay, make sure if you have a cramp that we're taking care of you, giving the snacks we have, to that person, extra water bottle, because it is for you to have a great experience, and we're there to support you.
Great. Is there a word for a bunch of bikers on the road? A flock of seagulls.
So if you're in a group, it's called a Peloton ride. So if you're riding did
you guys sue them? Did you sue the stationary bike people for stealing the name?
I don't know if anyone's done that or not, but I mean, I don't know what the numbers for Peloton has to be considered. I don't know if it's even like 2 or 3, but when you're in a big group, it's called a Peloton. So any of these racers that are racing and they're doing, the race where the group is helping the leader to make sure that he's rested and it's called a Peloton group. So that's really the name you would use for that. I mean, I'm sure you can use anything, bike group or just group. There are definitely some neat bike terms out there, like our ride for the beach thing, C-3 film fondo. Fondo is a word that they use in Italy in Spanish for like bike event, bike ride. Just like you hear a lot of times, grand. There's just so instead of having to say this huge acronym for festival event, you can kind of make it sound little more fancy, and have one of these acronyms that they use in Europe that they've been using for years that we use over here also.
Awesome. Eric Griffioen, thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you for turning me on to Bark Barbecue. I mean, this is well worth the trip just for this breakfast sandwich, to be honest with you. And you said the lunches are great here too, right?
Yeah, if you ever get down to it's not far away. I mean, literally, you cross the Bay Bridge, the first exit. It's right on your left of the first exit. I mean, they do an amazing job with their barbecue. I mean, it's not just barbecue. You can have egg sandwich, other things. We just hope to see you come out and see the Eastern Shore. Come out and be part of our club. If you have any questions, I'm always answering questions immediately. You can send questions through the website, and I'll respond to you. If not that day, within the next day, but usually within hours. I mean, people laugh at me like I'm on the website, like just waiting for someone to hit me up.
Yes, a question.
But I want to make sure that you have great experience, and I want to make sure that you come out and see what we're about.
We'll get started at ridec3.org, and that's RIDE, the letter C, the number 3.org. And Eric will be back to you in an hour. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.